Hello, my name is Lynda Brown, and welcome to Meet the Candidates. It's my pleasure to bring this one-to-one question and answer forum to you. You know, in speaking with people around town, it's come to my attention that sometimes folks don't really know who might be running for a particular office, or even at times who's representing them presently. So this is one way for residents to get to know who's running for what office and to get to know a little bit more about the candidate and the issues that are important to them. I'll be asking local candidates questions that are pertinent to the office that they're seeking. They'll be about different issues facing the city and getting their responses and what they would do to either change or build on these issues. Now, notices inviting candidates to join in on this forum were sent out to all who are running. The ones that you'll be seeing in the interviews are candidates that responded. However, before I start, I'd like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to HC Media for opening their studio to me, along with the help of their wonderful staff and equipment. So much goes into being able to do something like this, and I appreciate it so much. They are one of Haverhill's gems. So, we're going to get started with our first candidate. Hello, I am with Sven Amirian, who is currently on school committee. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Lynda.
Well, welcome. It's
Thank
good
you.
to have you. Thank you for doing this. I love this to have all these different city council members and the school committee members. I really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
So we'll hop right to it, okay?
Sure.
So the first question I'm going to ask you, why are you running for re-election?
Well, one of the things is I don't think the work is done yet.
Exactly.
When I decided to get back into things after taking a break from the city council for a while, and I was away from the chamber for 2 years because I felt that as a chamber president, that was sort of an extension almost of public service.
Absolutely.
And but I needed a little break in there, for my family, for my career, and things like that. But to get back to the question, I just think a 4-year term is great. I think we've accomplished a lot. I certainly enjoy working with my colleagues, but with the new superintendent just coming on board,
Excellent.
I want to be in a place where I can support her for the next 4 years, and I think this will probably be my last stint. I think I believe strongly in allowing new blood and new faces to serve on the council, and I think the power of the incumbency can really be overwhelming sometimes, and it detracts new candidates from coming on and succeeding maybe their first time and discourages people.
Right.
So I think a two terms of 4 years each is plenty for me. I think I can continue to assist, but after that time, let's let some new ideas come on. So I'm going to state that right
Very
now.
progressive way to think. Very really good way to think. Now, what do you think? What kind of relationship should you, as a committee member, have with the community at large, not just with your other fellow members, and then the second part of that is with the superintendent?
Yeah. So obviously, I'll handle the second part of that first.
Right.
That's huge because we're working hand in hand with the superintendent. We are the only accountability that the superintendent has.
Absolutely.
The superintendent answers to us. We hire her. That's the superintendent. We hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
And I think we absolutely have to be. We're not always going to agree, but we have to be in lockstep with the policies that we're creating to make sure the superintendent can succeed. That we give the superintendent the power to control what's in their purview.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
an important thing. I mean, because there can be a tendency to cross over roles, and we've got to be very careful. We are not, the school committee is not involved in hiring or firing or any of the management of the employees. We empower the superintendent to do that. We hold the superintendent accountable for the goals that we set on a yearly basis, and we obviously set long-term goals that are and we listen to what the superintendent has in mind. the superintendent is the one with the skills and the knowledge, certainly much more so than any of the individual committee members. We're not experts in school policy. We are representatives who are elected to place guidance. And so in that sense, the community has put their faith in us
Absolutely.
to make the right decisions. And one of the biggest decisions we make is the selection and the accountability of the superintendent. So we are accountable to the community. We are accountable to the voters. But I always put my first duty to the school system, the students, the teachers, above anything. I mean, we often get questions about keeping taxes low, and how is that our role, and are we responsible for that? And I say, well, to an extent, yes, but my goal is to make the school system excellent, because that's going to benefit everybody in the community. So if I do that job well, then I serve the community. But
really
I
did your job. Right, you did your job, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to be. And you actually, I was going to ask you about what your most important responsibility is, and you answered that. You tied it right in there, so I'm loving that. So now, I know you meet twice a month, right?
Yeah.
So how do you go about, you mentioned you set long-term goals and things, but how do you go about as a committee to decide like what's really important, which should be on the front burners?
Yeah.
So to say?
Well, we're always having communication with the superintendent and getting the pulse of the school days and how how the year is playing itself out. We have numerous subcommittees that meet all the time. So in addition to those 2 meetings a month, we may have 3, 4, 5 subcommittee meetings. Yeah, and so a lot of the yeoman's work is done in those subcommittee meetings. I mean, I'm part of the policy subcommittee. We redid our rules and regulations, our handbook basically. So and that took a lot of time, but we used the Mass Association of School Committees representative as an assistant, and so there are numerous committees that work all the time and then bring their recommendations back to the general committee.
Right.
So through those subcommittees, through constant communication with the superintendent, that's how we stay on top of things. And then obviously we have to react when unfortunate issues happen, or when emergencies occur. Those quickly escalate to the top of the list.
And they will happen. Let's
there's
face it. Right?
no way you can get around
avoid
it.
that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about the behavior of a committee,
Yeah.
because where you deal in the school department, we model that. I'm
Correct.
a teacher myself. I teach privately, but
Yeah.
my behavior directly affects how I feel reflects how my students see me. What do you think? What qualities and behavior should the committee members exhibit?
Yeah, so I think all the committee members have to remember that we're being looked at and scrutinized all the time. And especially with how pervasive the use of computers and social media is these days, that is, I think, one of the biggest pitfalls, and where I have the most concern with, and I'm the most cautious. Obviously, when we're out in the community, we're not only representing ourselves and our families, but we're representing the school committee because we are elected officials. Exactly. I really, really, would encourage all of my colleagues to, take extra caution when posting online, especially. That's as I said, the biggest area, because those things are permanent. You can post something and have a regret and take it down, but I guarantee you, if it's controversial, somebody has screenshotted that and it makes the rounds. And
I'm on there all the time.
You're
right?
on there all the time,
All the time.
and you monitor. I
monitor the site. Welcome to Haverhill.
Welcome to
right?
Haverhill, right?
And there are guidelines that we set forth that if you don't like it, well, then it's probably not the page for you.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you write something down, it's there forever.
That's right.
That's how it works today, and it's out there within seconds.
Yeah. And I mean,
Exactly.
there's always going to be stuff that you disagree with, your colleagues from time to time on the school committee. But I really feel that the meeting is where that should be dealt with. And once the meeting
Absolutely.
ends, that's the end of it. I don't like when battles are fought in the media, in the mainstream media, or on social media.
on
It
social
gets
media.
ugly, it gets nasty, and people take things out of context.
I agree.
And so there's no better way to deal with things than face-to-face discussion, really, because you can read the other person and you can have a discourse. I mean,
What
email,
happened to that, right? What happened
I
to
don't know. I don't know. And if you can't do that, pick up the phone. And I guess if you have to email, but I mean, you can misconstrue emails pretty
Phones
easily.
now are for texting, right? It's like, it used to be to actually ring somebody, right, and
Yeah.
actually talk with somebody. But times they change, but you have to realize sometimes that one-on-one,
Yeah.
nothing really takes that place.
That's
it
right.
really doesn't.
That's right.
So.
And you know what? We need to slow down. We need to take the time to sit down and have a discussion and share a cup of coffee, because I guarantee you 90% of the issues and conflicts could be handled in that way before they escalate and before feelings are hurt.
I agree. Yes, because like we said, once it goes out there, you're not getting that back. And there are people, believe me, who are out there just to make sure it gets around that fast.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
always think about that. So I want to ask you, how can people get in touch with you if they have a question about your campaign, just about anything? Are you on Facebook, on your city?
Yeah, so all of our contact information is listed on the Haverhill Public Schools website.
Okay.
So if you go onto the main page and then go into the school committee section, so all of my official information is there. But if somebody wanted to, private message me through Facebook, I'll admit I'm not the greatest social media person, and
That's okay. That's cool.
actually I'd prefer phone calls. So if somebody wanted to call me, my phone number
Yes,
is
I was gonna say,
listed.
yes, that's okay.
So please call me, and then set up an appointment. I'll come.
Could you mind saying what your phone number is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. So
Okay.
my private phone number, my cell phone is
Yes.
978-360-4063. And I'm happy to repeat that, or you can get in touch.
He calls you back. He will. He did. He did to me
If you
today.
call that number, I'll call you back.
He did.
So-
Well, listen, we are all out of time, and it was so
Okay.
nice having this conversation with you. Finally,
Yeah.
I see you around. It's like, hi, how you doing, whatever. But so nice to finally meet you and sit down like this and
Yeah,
talk.
thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome. Thanks so much.